before. This is a show that I do every Tuesday nights. It's always all about ball pythons. We might talk about the business, the hobby, breeding, morphs, all kinds of various topics, but it is always ball python centric. It's every night, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Usually there's a guest. Sometimes I fly solo. Just depends on how I'm feeling. And sorry to keep you waiting. Hang on a second here. Well, that timed out. That's what happens when we're live. I had one other thing going I'll talk about in just a second. So tonight's episode, last week on the show, Steven, as we were wrapping up, he drops this bombshell of a question. And he says in the comments, he says, what would you do if you had 10 grand to spend to start over? And what would you buy? And I was wrapping up. I had to get on with life and some other things in life and that kind of deal. So we had to wrap it up. But I said, you know what? That's a killer topic for a whole show. We can't just put that in the chats. And so I fired him off a Instagram message. And I said, hey, why don't you put your 10 grand ideas together? I'll put my 10 grand ideas together and we'll talk about it on the show. So that's tonight's show. Thanks for joining. I'm going to hit the music and we will get to the show right after that. Here we go. All right. What is happening, all? I appreciate you being here. We got, there's 4 in the room. Feel free to say hello. And this is definitely an interactive show. I want you to comment, all that good stuff. We will answer chats along the way. And so, like I said, that is Steven from Leviathan Snakes. Say hello, Steven. Tell us about yourself and give us an update since you've been on before. You're a friend of the show. You've been here.
Yeah, what's going on, friends? So my name's Steven. Courtney's actually upstairs, so both of us do Leviathan Snakes. Courtney's my wife. She's actually the one who started it, and she's not feeling well, so she might drop in later on. But so for us, we got into breeding ball pythons a little bit more than a year ago. We had our first season. We had 6 clutches, super exciting, and we've made a lot of friends, like Adam being one of them. We met him up in Daytona. It's super fun. We've been on a couple different times. 403, what's up, friend? Yeah, so that's like how we've been here a couple times before, just in case anybody hasn't seen us. So I'm super stoked about this. I was so excited about the topic of like, if we had to start over and do a 10K project like right away, what would we do? That I actually couldn't decide on one. So I made 2 different lists and I actually did one of the lists as like our YouTube video for last week. So I'm not going to do that this week, but
I saw that. I felt a little tinge of like, wait a minute, you're coming in, you already got your whole thing put together. I was like,
no, I did it after that. I was like inspired by it. I was excited. And that's like,
I was like, when I was watching, I was like, what are you getting fired up about, Adam? You're getting a little competitive here. Like, I was like, settle down for a minute, man. Let the man do his own channel there. So, yeah, so you said rightly so. I think this is your 3rd or 4th time on, and you definitely did. We did a like a dress rehearsal version of the show one night. You were good enough to come on and help me do a practice run on that. But it's been about a month or so since you've been on. What's been going on? Any cool pickups? Any new? I know it's sort of past hatchling season. I don't think you have any new hatchlings, but what you got going on?
Yeah, no new hatchlings, no new pickups, which is good. We're trying to hold off and not to buy a bunch of stuff.
You've been at it. I will just say that.
We're trying not to buy things right now. So we, exciting things. We had ordered a like shed. It's a 12 by 20 shed back in August, and it finally got delivered. So we're going through the whole process of insulating that, running wire or like electricity out to it, installing like the mini split. So that way we'll end up having like, at first we were calling it the snake shed, but we feel like that's not, my favorite pastime. Courtney's in the chat. So
yeah, that's those of y'all that don't know, Courtney is Steven's counterpart, I think, in another part of the house.
Yeah, she's upstairs.
Chiming in.
Yeah. But so we got a shed, but we are like finishing it, getting it hopefully looking really nice and all like set up for the snakes, that we decided that calling it a shed is like doesn't accurately describe it, but calling it a facility is like pretentious. So we're calling it a shop. It's the snake shop.
Hey, there you go.
Already. Yeah.
I love that. One of the maybe the very first time you and I talked, you used the word intentional when you talk about really branding, but anything related to who you are, what your product is. And I hope I told you at the time, but it's always resonated with me. Same with me on proper Royals. It's got to be proper Royals on all the platforms. I use my same logo, hell or high water. It doesn't matter if it's a good or a bad logo. If it's consistent, it's always going to be recognized. I'll work on the brand to make the brand good. I can overcome a good or a bad logo, but that's an interesting microcosm of that intentionality there that I've always appreciated. I mean that complimentary. I think that's cool. So you said it's 12 by 12?
It's 12 by 20.
12 by 20.
Yeah,
nice.
It's a little bit more than double the size of the room that we currently have all the ball pythons and stuff in.
Very nice.
It's also no windows, so that way it like will make max use of the space, because right now the room they're in, we don't want to block the windows. So
right.
Yeah,
mine is, forget the dimensions now. I believe mine is 12 by 10, and I'm staring off because I'm looking at it. It's right behind the computer screen that I'm being filmed on. But I believe mine is 12 by 10. And I tell you what, like with the right racks and a smart layout, you can get incredible amount of space of animals in there. Now mine will only hold animals. My sink, my workstation, my incubators, my trash are actually immediately outside the door in the less temperature controlled. So my garage, I keep at, somewhere between 68 and 84. I kind of moderate the Florida temperature, but the snake room itself is micromanaged right down to 80 degrees year round, 24/7. So I actually can step out to the sink area and step back in. So mine is, the incubator's in it right now, but it will be 100% snake space other than what I need to walk and, you got to pull tubs in and out. So
no, that's awesome.
That's very cool. So when do you complete it and when do you move in on it?
So we are our friends, Will and Jennifer from the Nake Breeders. They're hooking us up. Will works in construction. He has a friend who's an electrician. They're going to come out in the next couple weeks to like run the wire. Once we get the electricity on and the HVAC installed, then it's finishing doing the insulation on the ceiling and drywall and floors. So hopefully by the end of December. That's the goal.
Yeah. Good for you. What HVAC are you going with? Just curiously on it.
It's a Mitsubishi. So actually, the person I'm wearing the shirt.
They're the ones. That's exactly what I was going to recommend. The old window units, get rid of them. Those mini splits are where it's at, man. That's what I use for my whole garage here.
No, we haven't used it yet, but our friend Troy from Balls and Strikes, he's the one who recommended it because he pretty much did the same thing with us, but he did a 12 by 30 building while we did 12 by 20.
Yeah.
So
I think eventually, I mean, if it were to really grow and explode for me and, in that five-year plan, I would probably seal off the garage and insulate the garage properly. And then I could still use that same mini split and my garage is 20 by 20. It's 2-car garage. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know if this house is our 5 to 10 year plan though either. So anyhow, that is getting off topic. On my end, I got a couple of cool things going on. Nothing like a 12 by 20 building in the backyard, but I do have a couple of cool things going on. First, I want to say thanks to all the subscribers. I passed 750 subscribers, and Steven and I were talking ahead of time about YouTube metrics and all that. I should hit a monetized standpoint on YouTube by, I'm hoping, the first or second week in January. So I'll do the obligatory likes and subscribes are greatly appreciated. I'm mighty close. November will be 1 year on YouTube, and maybe I'll do an episode on just YouTube in a year or something like that. But I want to say thank you to everybody. And I know Steven does a lot of promo when he comes on the show. I want to say thanks to everybody that's checking out the show from Leviathan Snake's various channels, whether it's YouTube channel or Instagram. Definitely check them out. You all just passed 7,000 on Instagram.
Yeah. We're super freaking stoked.
Yeah, that does not happen by accident. I can tell you because I work my butt off for the 150 that I have. So, $7,000 is incredible. Speaking of good dudes out there, this is Phil Snyder, and he has a Instagram page called Finger Snakes, and I think it's BP, Finger Snakes BP, from the Finger Lakes region up in North New York, and he's got killer stuff going on. He's pretty humble and quiet about it, but great insight.
I'll make sure that if we're not already following him, we'll definitely check him out.
Yeah, check him out, and he's a good dude. We talked quite a bit offline. We talked online a lot last episode, but quite a bit offline as well. So, Phil, thanks for being here. I always appreciate it. It's always great to see return folks. Oh, we got Kai in the house as well. Speaking of people with a lot going on. Kai, I caught your videos this week, and I'm not looking for any details or anything, but I hope everything's going all right. I know you said you had a whole lot going on, and I understand that. Like I say, best wishes. I hope it's all going well. That's all I'll say about it. But y'all check out Lucas Landon Royals. That's Kai from Lucas Landon. He's got killer content, 4,500 followers. And I got to say hey to Patrick as well. Patrick was one of the very, very first subscribers that ever followed my channel. Always takes the time to say hey to me on almost all my videos. Been really cool to me. Patrick, I hope we get to cross paths in person one day at a show. You've meant a lot to me seeing you all along the way, and I mean it. I appreciate that. And we got John out in Colorado. John, what are you drinking tonight? You always have a glass of wine with me. I'll let you comment. What's up, Courtney? How are you tonight?
Hey.
I don't know if you can hear with.
Okay.
No, okay.
I'm just saying, hey, I don't feel good. I'm not.
I heard you weren't feeling well.
Good to see you.
You're working harder than all the men put together in this room. Those of y'all that aren't watching, she has a baby on the way. All right. So that was kind of big news with the 750 subs. And then, so what I stumbled over at the very intro was I discovered this new app called Call In. It's a play on the poker term all in, but it's called Call In. And what it is a podcasting social media platform. It was started, and I cannot remember the guy's name, which goes to show you how jumbled I am on show prep this week. He was the founder and the COO of PayPal, and he sees an angle in the market where Clubhouse started for him to continue. And basically it's live podcasts, but also you can go back and edit and post episodes of podcasts. And again, it's called Call In. And I had it all set up, and then it timed out when I went to hit start. So we were going to do Call In. We were going to be live on Call In tonight as well. But starting next week, I'll have the kinks ironed out, and this live show, will become a podcast that you could catch up on anywhere. So if you don't have an hour and a half to sit in front of the YouTube channel, but you might want to catch up on the show when you're commuting or driving. I know that Jeremy Bod that was on, he told me that he's by day he's a cabinet finish carpenter, and he said he watches YouTube videos all the time at work to listen to them. So anyhow, that got me thinking that Call In would be a great option. So we will be on Proper Royals on Call In. That's CALLIN is the name of that app. I'm going to put it in the comments. And now that we have covered all of that, and sorry, one more thing. I'm going to be adding some hatchlings to Morph Market. These are basically, here's the plug. I'm not going to make any money on these, and I don't really want to. What I don't want is to continue to bear the burden of feeding them and raising them. They're males. They're healthy. They are eating. There's nothing wrong with them. Basically, if you cover shipping and a little token amount to cover the feeders that I've fed them already, if you want to drop me an email at properroyals@gmail.com, I will ship them out to you and get you some hatchlings. And they are 3 male orange dreams, 66% het pied, 50% het albino. They're males, and I don't have a need for them. There's nothing wrong with them, but I try and keep real boundaries on myself, and I don't need the burden of raising and feeding them and the time for them. Healthy, you get all the feeding history and all that. Again, 3 male orange dream hatchlings. They're ready to ship. Email me at properroyals@gmail.com. Otherwise, I'm going to slap them on Morph Market, or I'm going to take them down to the local shop and wholesale them. So there's a good chance to get you something. If you watch this and you're watching this plug right now, like I say, cover shipping and I'll basically hook you up. So with that is the end of my show prep outside of the topic at hand. So if you missed the intro, Steven pops up at the end of last week's show and he leaves in the chats, what would you do? What would you buy right here, right now, today in the current market? What would you buy if you had $10,000 to spend on snakes and you had nothing? You're starting over. It was a total from scratch exercise. And I really had to wrap the show up. It was time for me to go. And I said, I'm going to think about that, and I'm going to do the show next week on it. And then I got thinking afterwards, I was like, well, I invite Steven on. He's been a great guest before, definitely knows his stuff. And let's debate it. Let's both put together our list and we'll hit it. So we debated back and forth just really briefly, not on any specifics on what we're going to present, but the rules, which there's not really any rules. This is a fun thing. But the rules are that we're only talking snakes. We're not talking shipping. We're not talking racks. We're not talking 12 by 20 facilities. We're just talking snakes. What would you buy and why? So that was the groundwork for it. And I'm going to kick this over to Steven for just a minute, because I want to talk. Don't share yours yet. I'm going to go first, but not because I'm greedy, because Steven's got a killer presentation that's going to blow mine out of the water. Now, I'm confident in my content, but the presentation is quite strong from Steven. So I'm going to let him. I'm going to be the opener. He'll be the main act, the headliner tonight. But Steven, talk to me about, as I was doing this, I started thinking of all of the different scenarios that each of us are in. How long can we go without being profitable? How quickly do we need to sell? Can we wait 3 years, or do we need to go right now? Those kinds of things. So on your pitch tonight, give us some of the context with it. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so for this one, as I was saying earlier in the show, I was super excited by it. Like once Adam invited me on, I was like, oh, that's so fun that I actually made 2 lists. And because I was so excited about it, it was just fun to go window shopping and stuff, that I did a video on our channel last week that's saying the other list that I had. But for me, I looked at it as I wanted to get things that were not things, like for this one, things that we didn't have. Like that. So there were projects that we were not using. It's not so much about profitability, but I didn't want to just be like, well, here's the snakes that we already got kind of thing.
Right.
The other one on it was that when we kind of went towards if I were going to jump in right now with $10,000, had no snakes, I feel that I would rather get the base for like amazing stuff and wait to be profitable for 2 to 3 years than immediately jump in. Though I think that there's like benefits of both. But that's just, if I just had the money just laying around, like found a scratch off ticket and it was 10K and it was like, oh, right, I'm not losing anything for doing this. I was like, I'd rather go for it, like really, really go for it. And then 3 years from now, reap the rewards versus like, all right, I'm investing money that I've saved up and I really need to make a profit on it. So that way I can return on my investment, because they're both valid, but different strategies.
Yeah. So mine, I went a little bit more of this is blood money and it's not to be screwed around with.
Yeah.
So, but let me give one caveat to anybody watching. I am not advocating anybody go out from the very start and drop 10 grand and these are all the different thoughts that entered into my mind, because you got to know what you're doing. And I don't even say that as somebody that I know that knows what they're doing completely yet. But I could tell you, when I had 5 snakes, I thought it was overwhelming to care for them. I had to figure out how to care for 5 snakes. Then when I had 15 snakes, I was like, man, how in the world am I going to have a room full of snakes if 15 snakes are kicking my butt? And then hatchlings come, and now there's 30 plus snakes in my room. But you figure that out along the way. You figure out your incubator along the way ahead of time before you put eggs in it. But if you don't have your incubator on straight, you don't want to go dumping 50 eggs into it and crashing and burning. So those are some of the thoughts on mine. And I'll go ahead and get to my pitch, and we'll kind of wing it, and we'll take this however, wherever comments come. Steven, interject. I'm definitely down for discussion. I'm glad that we had this part of the talk first, because another important part is whatever journey you as a viewer or as a participant are after is your own journey. If your enjoyment and your fulfillment and your passion is worth more than the money, great. Then focus on that. If the money is a priority first, there's probably better businesses to go into, because passion's got to be a huge part of it. But there is good money to be made, I believe. And so just make sure you got your own boundaries and your own goals, because the other thing you can do is you could go broke real fast. Holy cow, you can go broke real fast. So we'll talk a little bit about that tonight too. And Phil, I really like his comment just out of the gate. Any breeding adult female and the most expensive male that you could possibly find. And all joking aside, there's a lot of truth to this. I actually wrestled with just saying, I'm going to buy as many female normals as I can, and then I'm going to buy the most expensive dang snake that I can. So I think that there actually is value in that. I did go for a little bit more of a differentiated, to use a stock word, to go for a little differentiated portfolio approach. So I don't have the nifty graphics that you're going to see from Steven, but the content is there. And so I'll give you my overall thought here. Is I think that recessives are fun, so they check my sort of what I'm passionate and after box. And secondly, I think that they'll be, I think nobody can predict the future, but I think that they'll be a good investment. And then one part that doesn't fit on a spreadsheet that I really thought about, because I did think about going hey, you know what? Let me get one male visual sunset, and let me just get as many adult breeders as I can. I don't know, and I want Steven's input here, because you're living this. I truly want your input. You are living this right now, what I'm about to say. I don't know that me as a new guy can pop out sunsets, having never been heard of before, and expect people to hand over money to me without that pedigree and without that provenance to my snakes. You can't just land somewhere and expect to be at the top of the market. I don't know, but I don't think so. So my angle was take the high end of the middle ground. Mm-hmm. And that's where clowns, axanthic, and pieds are probably always going to play. And then I got a little bit of a risky gamble on candy. I think candy is an incredible investment right now. I think where the lavender is trailing off, candy is about to take off. I did a video on that whole topic if you want to check it out, but I'll say my proof in the pudding is the current price of a dreamsicle versus the current price of a candy pied. It's 2-to-1 is what I'll tell you, and maybe more. Steven, what do you think of that? Because you literally have bought visual sunsets. You're in.
So my thoughts on it are, if you are we'll say new breeder, And by that, I'm going to use we talked about intentionality of language. By new breeder, I mean somebody who hasn't ever produced a clutch before, but that might mean that you've been in the hobby for 2 months. It might mean you're in the hobby for a year. It might mean you're in the hobby for 3 years, depending on what you buy.
Right.
I feel for most people who are new into the hobby and are going to get something that like high level, they are probably going to buy a hatchling, which means even if you get a hatchling male and you raise up, like you buy some breeder size female, you still need a year. You have a year's worth of time to essentially convince as many people as you can that, hey, I know I'm new, but I'm in sunset. And that you just have to make people trust you. You have to make people connected to you. And they aren't going to necessarily care if you are Justin Kabolka or Leviathan Snakes who are new. You're like, I know that they have sunsets. I know I've seen them. I've seen all of their content. I trust the fact that they have sunsets. So even though they're selling me a het, I 100% believe that they have it. I think that's the goal you have to get over. If you come in and you don't do any marketing, you don't do any social media, and you show up to a show with a bunch of normals that are labeled Het Sunset and they're $1,000, nobody's going to buy from you. Also, I don't think that a local show at least, is the market for that type of snake anyway.
I agree with that. And everything that you just said in the past 2 minutes on that response is in a nutshell what I've been chasing on YouTube, on my social media presence. It is, I've gotten other fulfillment out of it, but it truly has been to establish, here's who I am, here's what I'm working in, here's why you should hopefully trust me versus the next dude that you've never recognized on Morph Market or anywhere else. And I'm accessible, and here's how you get me. That, in a nutshell, is my brand message that I've been working on for a year, so that when I hit these hatchlings that just came out, I would be able to sell them. So, okay, back to the topic at hand. I'm going to actually start with my stats, because if I just read you what is on the screen, that's pretty boring. I was able to, with $10,000, I was able to put together 8 females, 7 of which are breeding ready to go. So to your point, maybe somebody brand new hitting the ground shouldn't be breeding immediately, but in that first year, let's just say that, 6-7 months in, they're going to start breeding. I got 4 males, so I've got that nice blend of 3-to-1, and I kind of, at the very end, I found a male that I had to buy, and frankly, I almost actually bought the thing. Like, I was like, close the laptop, walk away.
That's why I didn't do any of our regular projects.
That's right. So of the recessives, I have a visual clown, a visual axanthic, I have a visual male and a female pied, and a visual male and a female candy. The dominants and the codoms that I got for the 10,000. So we got visual clown, axanthic, pied, candy. Then in some combination somewhere throughout these 12 snakes that we bought with our $10,000, we got lesser, pinstripe, pastel, enchi, mojave, fire, orange dream, leopard, spot nose, even got that spot nose in there at the end, yellow belly, and calico. So, man, I got a lot of bases. Like, I was like, this is actually like I almost want to sell this list. Like, hey, I'll sell it to somebody. No, I'm joking. These snakes, as of Sunday night, are all available on Morph Market as well. Now, Steven's going to show you his snakes that he chose. Visually, mine, I'm just going to talk you through them, and I'll talk through a couple hypotheticals. So we got clowns ready to go. So I got a female clown and a male clown. My goal was that if I could get an average sale price of between $400 and $600, and probably $400 to start, but maybe I can move up towards $600, I could actually theoretically be profitable in the first breeding season, but really the second is where I would really, really kind of hit home on it. But I could get to breeding right away. I wouldn't have to shoulder that $10,000 burden for very long. So I got my clown. Sorry, I got to use the proper. There we go. Use the mouse here. So I got the clown, and that question mark is I couldn't get a year for when it was. It was 1,500 grams, $700. A male
Good
clown.
deal. Like that's
It's like these exist. These are there. Like for $1,000, you got a gift wrap turnkey clown project right now, ready to go. It's out there.
We just actually, our last pickup, I think, was a breeder-sized female single gene clown. She was visual. She was a mouser, and they sold her, I think it was $800.
Yeah.
So that's $700. I was like, oh, I jumped on it when I saw it.
I'm saying, man, it like say Sunday night, it was there. Look at everybody is there. Everybody's like, wait a minute, where the hell is that thing? All right. Yeah. So I promise it was there. Maybe I'll have to do some links or something in the description. I'll try and find them. But all right. So then this lesser pinstripe pastel, first it was kind of loaded. Second, it's a female and she is breeder size. Oh no, she's a hatchling. She's 2021. So when this female right here is ready to go, check this out. She is het axanthic het clown. I want to cross my male axanthic in the second year with my female clown so that when this one's ready in the third year, I got males ready to chase axanthic clown projects. That's what I'm after on that. So that was the play on those first two bullet points here. Guys, we are at 20 concurrent viewers. That's a new high water mark for me. I got to tell everybody, thank you so much. I'm really grateful for that. It means a lot to me. Little benchmarks that don't really mean much, but every time we can improve and hit higher ground, I'm really thankful. Courtney, I will do my best to keep Steven occupied so that Mark can buy that snake. So then I went to the Pieds. My feeling on Pied is, yeah, they're a little bit played out, but damn if they don't sell. And the bottom of the barrel still is around $400.
And they look gorgeous. They're so cool looking. They
are. And there's so many new things that still are popping up every day in the world of ball pythons that nobody could tell me we're done with Pieds. It might be in a lull, and maybe that means now's the time to snatch them up. But more cool things are going to happen with Pieds. And like I say, man, sorry, I got to watch my mouth. I curse when I get passionate, but they are cool. And so I went ahead and got a male and a female ready to go. I got a 700-gram male for $400, and there was a 2017 Pied for $1,600. Oh, and I threw Enchi in there. So you're going to get visuals and Enchi Pieds. So you're going to get high white and low white. So you're covering both ends of the market spectrum on there. With Candy, same thing. Like I say, I'm really bullish on Candy. I wanted a Candy so that I could be making double hets with a male and double hets if I have a visual male holdback, a hatchling in the future. So I picked up a female Candy and a male Candy. And the question mark is the grams. That's not a possible. None of these were listed as possible. So that was a yellow belly Candy. And that was, I don't know the grams, but that was 1,600. And I was able to pick up the male with Mojave and pastel in it as well for 500. So now we're moving into, we got some bell options in the future. Now we got our building blocks, yellow belly, Enchi, pastel. That's like the holy trinity almost right there. If there was going to be one of DOMs and codoms. And then my miscellaneous. So I got all my 4 recessives covered. All of those we can make. I don't know the math. What's the math? You could do 12 varieties of different double recessives off. No, 7. It doesn't matter. It's a lot. It's a ton of options. You got 5-10 years of breeding right there to aim for double recessives. And then if you really want to go crazy with triples, you got that. Go for it. You really have a decade of a breeding project here, and that's before you hold anything back. No, that's a lie. You can never hit your double recessives if you don't hold back. So you got some holdbacks that you got to have, but you got a decade of a breeding project right there. Then I added, there's a female breeder that I found, and watch, guys, go chase these down. I swear to God, they were there Sunday night. I'm not making any of this up here. there was a 1,700 gram female Enchi pastel fire, $600. Check this one out. Pastel Orange Dream, proven breeder from 2018, $400, and that's Canadian dollars. I don't know I don't know what the conversion is right now, but I think that's just over $300 on that. Speaking of Holy Trinity, whatever the holy quad would definitely include leopard. I really had to get leopard in the mix, so I got a breeder female leopard for $650. She'll be ready to go this season. And then look at this stunner. I had to step away. I could not explain to Kelly that I dropped another $500 on another snake. But look at this thing. It's a hatchling, so you do have to sit back on it. But only a year. It's a male. He's going to be ready shortly. Super pastel, so he's going to produce all pastels on the babies. Leopard, spot nose, yellow belly, and calico. Holy cow. If you ever don't know what the heck you're going to do one year, you just throw that guy in with all your females and let it rip. And you're going to have 100% hets because you don't have I've got all notice on my recessives. Yeah, none of them are hets. They're all visual, so you don't ever have possible hets. That was another key point in my purchasing. So that, my friends, sorry, on my screen it's hard. I had the mouse on the wrong window. So that, my friends, is my pitch. And that, if you count Canadian dollars as American dollars, as US dollars, that hit $10,000 on the nose. So I rest my case for the Shira, that's my last name, Adam Shira $10,000 purchase plan.
It's super freaking cool. I love it. I love how much variety you have in it. I also love how different we went on it. Like, I think it's so
nice,
cool.
Nice. Yeah, I will say I wouldn't say mine's old school because it's recessive heavy, but probably to your point of what I bet if I were to bet, I'm not going to bet, but if I were to say I don't have the new kind of trending hip new entries to the market. And that way I went a little more safe and secure. Granted, they will lose value quicker than some of what the newer things will. But on the other hand, they're tried and true. I remember this was only 2 years ago when I picked up one of my first males and got back into ball pythons since college, 18 years ago. This bongo gene everybody was talking about, and I think it's a cool gene. I think it's very cool. You could have gone broke 2 years ago on bongo, and now you can buy it. You can snatch them up, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that it's cool or it's not cool or that I wouldn't love it visually. But again, in my real life, 10 grand is absolutely blood money. I better have a plan for it if I'm going to go slinging 10 grand. So with that being said, I will cede the floor to Steve. Oh, where's your screen? I got to make it live for you.
I'm going to share my screen, but I'm not going to bring over the things yet. I'll do that in a second.
I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to give you the floor. I'm still working on these buttons. There you go. And I will be your producer. You tell me when to click the add screen, all right?
Okay, so first I want to talk about a little bit of context on it. Is one, we already talked about it earlier, is I didn't go with breeder size females. The idea in it was that I was thinking, all right, starting from scratch, and I know that we didn't have racks and all that stuff. I want to give a year or 2 years to like get my feet under me before I'd like start breeding if I was starting from scratch. So like taking care of the animals, things like that. Hold on a second, I'm getting an echo. All right, anyways, I'll ignore it. So
hang on a second. Check. Is it from me or is it from you?
I don't hear it now. Can you
How about
still
now?
Nope.
Check one more. Test.
All right. We got
there you go.
So that's one, is that I wanted to give some time to both get established in the animals as well as establish marketing for it. Because that was my idea. If I was starting now, I wanted to like have time to build up marketing before I needed to sell something.
Yeah, and those are the points, some of what we were talking about, but also the nuance that this exercise has got to cover, but you can't fit that in a bullet point presentation or a spreadsheet of something that you're going to take to a bank and get. Please don't get a $10,000 loan to start a ball python business. But you know, that's not something that fits on the spreadsheet of a business model.
So because of all of like those kind of considerations, I wanted to have 1 to 2 years before started producing anything, have that time to market, because when you're trying to market to somebody and you need to sell something, your marketing comes across as, hey, I'm only interacting with you because I want you to buy something from me. And when you are marketing, when you don't have any ulterior motive for 2 to 3 years, you could just build friendships and relationships and get that trust going. That was my idea on it.
That's a huge point. There is nothing more desperate than please subscribe, follow back. You know, all the I'm bearish on the gimmicks. I'm with you. I'd rather put myself out there. Again, it's blood money. At some point, it's got to not just be a hobby. And when we say blood money, I'm right at that $10,000 number in 2 years. So I didn't do it in one fell swoop, but it can add up. So anyhow, continue. Yeah.
So then the other consideration I had is that this whatever would start would be the foundation to everything else. So I wanted it to have a really, really strong pivot point that could work with anything that ever came out. And I feel like that there's one specific gene that works good in everything, and it's Desert Ghost. So the entire budget is focused around the Desert Ghost project.
Wow. Okay.
So
let me ask you, let me play devil's advocate for a minute, because I actually think I could be wrong, because I don't have any Desert Ghosts, and I've toyed with the idea, and then I see the prices and I don't toy with it. It's just not a reality for me right now. So it feels like to me that's kind of the new hot gene.
Yeah, I can see that.
Tell me the longevity argument on it.
Okay, so my idea is that Desert Ghost, and we don't actually have Desert Ghost. We don't have any Desert Ghost. It's a project that we want to get into. We are doing a collab project with Balls and Strikes, actually. We have his Desert Ghost female, and we're pairing her to our Sunset, but we don't have any of our Desert Ghost. We don't have any Desert Ghost of our own. Desert Ghost works well in everything. So it is a hypomelanistic animal, but with regular hypo, it reduces melanin in both the lights and the darks. And what this does is that it reduces the contrast between the lights and the darks, because the darks are getting lighter.
Yeah.
Desert Ghost only reduces melanin in the light parts of the snakes, and it doesn't touch the black. So you get very, very crisp lines. So because of that, you can take it to dark morphs, and it still keeps them dark morphs, but it supercharges the brights. So so that's one concept on it. It's like you don't have, it works well in pastel, which I feel like pastel kind of, 403 Desert Ghost improves everything. So with this,
you got everybody on your side, man. Look at these. Everybody is like, hey, shut up, Adam. Like, let the man speak. Yeah. All right. Take it away, man.
Okay, so the last thing on it for the Desert Ghost and all that stuff is all of it's focused on Desert Ghost. That's the point of it. But because it works well with everything, we wanted to have like room to expand. So it's not just like a bunch of visual Desert Ghosts. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of go off on here. All right. Very
ready
first.
For me to share?
Yeah. If you can share, and then once it's up. Okay. So very first snake that I picked up in this project was a pastel yellow belly het Desert Ghost posset clown female. And again, all of them are hatchlings, so we're not going to go off of like weights or anything like that. The reason on this is it's a posset. It was actually pretty cheap, and it wasn't the first one that I picked, but I was trying to like fill up the budget while it's still working. Pastel and Desert Ghost look freaking incredible. Like, I'm not a big fan of pastel. I think some combos it looks awesome, but Desert Ghost, it kills it. So this is the second animal that we have, and it is a visual female pastel Desert Ghost. And it's just, like I was saying, like those blacks are just so crisp. Super, super excited. So with these two females, they are going to be able to produce either Desert Ghosts, or this female can work in other genes into it at a later point. So next female that I have, this female was available when I did this, by the way.
That's the thing on these projects. Yeah, look, they're on hold. They're sold.
Yeah. So this female, again.
Hang on just one second. Philadelphia. I don't know, and I don't know if Steven does, but I bet Phil will, and Phil might comment in the comments there. If not, we'll take a look maybe at the end or even next week's episode. But I think Phil probably has some good insight to that. And if Kai is still around, I bet Kai does as well. And Steven might. You know anything with albino or lavender with Desert Ghost?
I don't, because we don't have Desert Ghost. Like, it's a project we want to get into, but we don't have it right now, so we're definitely not the experts. But now that we know that Kai has some pretty powerful Desert Ghost stuff, we'll definitely be on the lookout once we finish all the stuff for the shed. So, but anyways, next female. Fire Yellow Belly Desert Ghost. So we had the pastel visual Desert Ghost. We had the het Desert Ghost female. Fire is a different gene. It's a lightning gene. So it's going to look good in a lot of other things that you want to brighten up and supercharge those light areas. Yellow Belly also is one of those genes that you might not be able to tell it in every combo, but it never makes them look bad. It only makes them look better. It like supercharges OD. It like just makes Red Stripe like freaking awesome. So it's just a Yellow Belly was another gene where I'm like, this female, once she's up to size, will go good in anything. Anything you put her to, she's always going to make amazing babies. So whether they're visuals, whether they're hets, she's a visual. So last one on here, again, going off of the genes that look good in anything, because the idea is that this first $10,000 is a solid project, but it builds out a base that you can pivot from later on. Last female on here is actually, she was the last one that I picked, and I did it so that way I could fill out the full $10,000 budget. Yellow Belly looks good in everything. Honestly, I think Leopard looks good in everything.
I agree on that. I'm high on Leopard,
and then there's a 50% chance that she's het Desert Ghost, and if you're going to do pos hets, you want your pos hets on your females. So if she doesn't prove out, you still produced a clutch of eggs, and if she does prove out, you freaking rocked it. Like, and then
that's
the last
a good point. That's a good value, proposition when it comes to, an investment or a risk.
If you are going to get like this female, and I'm not saying that $350 is cheap to anybody. That's not what I mean on this at all. But if you're going to get this female, and I did it at $350, but it's even offers we'll consider kind of thing. And you're going to buy a Yellow Belly Leopard girl, they're going to cost you about $200-ish, roughly, maybe $250 for an extra $100. You have the chance, 50% chance to gamble to have her be het Desert Ghost. And if you're already in the project, that's the reason why I went here. So the last one that I got, which is the male. So there were 4 females, not far smaller snakes, because with less snakes, you have less overhead on feeding them, on enclosures. You can just take care of your 5 snakes and then just market the crap out of yourself saying that, hey, I just went big onto this DG project and I'm going to make all the friends that I can. So that way everybody knows that you're in DG and you have some really cool DG stuff coming up. So when they want DG, because they are finding success in their clowns or their pieds, and they want to take their clowns and their pied game up to the next level and go DG, you're right there for them. So last guy, he is actually not a visual Desert Ghost. He's a het Desert Ghost, and he's a super asphalt. So
nice play.
The idea on this one is that he is going to make the visual Desert Ghosts with the hets and the female, or the visuals, from being het Desert Ghost. Every single one of his babies will be guaranteed asphalt, which makes it incredibly valuable for the Freeway project, because so many animals are sold in the Freeway project as Yellow Belly / asphalt. That if you can guarantee that this animal's asphalt, it makes it worth more than what a Freeway is.
It's actually why does that say $5,700?
$5,700 for this male.
I agree with you, but I don't know if I agree. $5,700. Ooh, okay.
So, there are again, just if somebody wants to go look at them, just look at guaranteed asphalt males, not super asphalts. They're gonna be more than the Freeways.
Well, and that's why I didn't actually. It's why I didn't. I considered that on my end. I was like, these are pretty hot, and they're usable building blocks. So even if that whole sort of project Freeway isn't hot in 10 years, you could still use the building blocks. But like you say, winging it, everything is this, or it's either asphalt / Yellow Belly because of the offspring. But that also got me thinking, if that's what I'm going to be producing once I start pairing it, then I got my own, like I'm conveying the challenge that I'm facing right in, that I'm encountering. So anyhow, I went back to my safety comfort zone.
Oh yeah. So another thing I think on this one that's really cool for the females. So again, the females were like picked so that way they could pivot to anything else later on and still look good.
Right.
But there are a yellow belly leopard, a fire yellow belly, pastel, and then pastel yellow belly. So you have the shot once you actually start breeding, not only to make visual desert ghosts, but make freeway desert ghosts and pastel freeway desert ghosts and leopard freeway desert ghosts. And those are like, you would be jumping so far ahead into not just desert ghost project, but freeway stuff that with this project, the idea is it's not about making the return in the first year, probably not even making the return in the second year, but the third year, you're going to be hitting stuff that people in the Desert Ghost project and in the Freeway project are either just barely hitting or haven't even hit yet.
Yeah.
So that was my idea on this one. I was super excited by it.
So what do you think of the chance, or how do you navigate? Because I think, what was it, 3 out of 5 have yellow belly. You're gonna have to navigate your offspring, your holdbacks, and watch the ivories. Unless you start a leopard ivory project, then kind of some of those breakthrough genes on ivories.
So most likely what I would do on the holdbacks from this is that I would hold back visual DG freeways like that, and whatever combos they had, but that's what I'd be looking for. Visual DG freeways. And then I'd be pairing the visual DJ freeways, if I didn't get any other new snake, back to the super asphalt male that's het DG. So then they're going to not make ivories. They're either going to make freeways or super asphalts.
Right.
That are desert ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah. Case in point to watch out on those.
So the male, specifically the male, it's not like he would be the one where you get and then you upgrade a season or two later. You'd have him and he'd be good for years.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of years, it's so much time that you have with these animals. Joe from Ball Pythons 9 was on a couple weeks ago. He just had a female that he has had for, I think he said 18 years, and it laid 14 freaking eggs. Man, I was like
that's awesome.
I don't know. I think 5, 6, 8 years of breeding time, because I don't know. You read things about retiring females and that. Man, I'll be lucky to be alive when we're retiring these females.
I see Evan down there says that he's all in on Ultramel. That's another one that I was interested. I was like DG Ultramel, but I was like, I feel DG can just go for that. Yeah. That was the other one I was looking at too.
Evan and I have been talking off of the live show offline, and I'm going to get him on the show here, but sooner than later. I got it. It's like the next, maybe it'll be the next episode sometime soon. I don't know the details and I don't want to spoil it, but as I understand it, Evan walked into Tinley Park loaded with just about the amounts that we're talking about, and walked out with a damn collection, man. Let me tell you, awesome. You got to check out his Instagram, everybody. Like, if you want like a real life, like, holy smokes, this guy just did that. It's real cool. And I don't know the details. I don't know the life stage. I don't know any of that, but it's pretty cool to see on Instagram, and I've been kind of filling in the gaps, but it's an interesting story. So Evan Kolstad on Instagram, check out his Instagram. Plus he's a really, really good dude. Go blow his Instagram up, get him a bunch of followers. He's a good dude, and he's going to need some people to buy some Ultramels, because that man's got some bills to pay. I saw the babies he brought home, man.
No, that's awesome. I think Ultramel is super cool. We're working on, again, collab project with Troy from Balls and Strikes. We're working on double het Sunset Ultramels this year. So we're super excited about that.
Say that again. You can't just glaze that over. Double het Sunset Ultramels.
Have you guys seen them yet?
Holy smokes.
They're so freaking cool.
Are there visuals exist out there?
Yes,
They're out there?
Give me 2 seconds. I have
pull pull one up and I'll pop it up there for you. Holy
Okay.
smokes. No, that is cool. I'll tell you, for all my talk of like in tried and true and not taking the risks and that stuff, I got a little itch with the Ultramel that I'm gonna have to scratch.
All right.
So sorry, real quick. Evan picked up 8 Ultramels and 2 pied Het Ultramels at Tinley.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that
that is worth further discussion, sir. We will. I like I say, I'm going to follow. We spoke last week after last week's episode. We're definitely going to catch up. I should love it when somebody just walks into the room and they're like, "Oh yeah, here's what I do."
Well, I'm just waiting for this to. All right, I'm going to bring this over here. This is actually the world's first Sunset Ultramel that got produced. It was done over in Germany. I think one other person has made a visual so far. I'm going to share my screen.
I was just say, yeah, I don't have it yet.
Okay. I thought it was super freaking cool.
Holy smokes. Yeah. Look at that thing.
And like Ultramels don't lose their color. Like they're not. Like, I'm super excited about this project. I'm also super excited to see how it ages. Like, if it holds that orange by the time it's an adult, like, oh, I think it's going to be super, super cool. But one of my thoughts on whether it's the DG, whether it's Sunset, whether it's any of the high-end projects, I think that it's really, really important you don't necessarily have to be the type of like establish yourself as like the best person in the project, but when people think of you and think of your brand, they have to think of that high-end project. Like if they are like, oh, Leviathan Snakes, they have some cool snakes, but I don't actually know what they have, versus like Leviathan Snakes, they have sunsets, because at some point, if you're like, hey, I want to get Sunset, I know that Leviathan Snakes is in Sunset.
Yeah. There's, when I watch all the I for myself, I stay really thirsty for knowledge, whether it's in my day job career in food and beverage or management, or the business side of this. But something that you hear constantly on, YouTube branding, marketing, business stuff, especially in social media, is to niche or niche down, but secondly, to become the expert, if not the expert, in a given area. And that's a really good point that you make, that you don't have to be the Sunset guy, but if you become synonymous with Sunset, Leviathan has those. So like, what if we took Phil's comment earlier, and his is Finger Snakes BP on Instagram, if I remember correctly. Phil, you could drop your and everybody can drop their link and name in the comments. I'm all for that. That doesn't bother me one bit. Please do, matter of fact. But if we took Phil's angle, what if we bought 5 breeder females for 5 breeder females for $1,500, and then we spent $8,000 on a hatchling Sunset male. And then for the 4 years until we could get a visual Sunset, we did nothing but make Sunset videos. like I actually wonder, like.
So the thing is, in my opinion on it, is that YouTube, specifically in the ball python realm, is like prime ground for marketing. And this doesn't mean that somebody's going to go get 1 million views on ball pythons, but if you go search anything on ball pythons, search Inchy ball pythons, in front page, I guarantee you're going to find videos that have 1,000 views on them. If you go search any other like hobby, let's say like cars, I'll do it real quick. Well, I bet you the front page is going to have like tens of thousands of views. The ball python hobby. So I'll do like Corvette V06, and these are the top views. Hold on, I'm just gonna. Oh, am I already sharing?
No. Yeah, you are. So
Okay.
Giovanni, we're coming right back to you in 1 second. That's a really great question, and it's important, especially if you're talking 10K. So hang on a second here. So Steven, to your point, and sorry, we swept 2 topics. If you Google ball python or some specific morph, you're going to see a video with 1,000, couple thousand views. That's it. You Google or YouTube search vintage Corvette.
Yep. YouTube search Corvette Z06 because you're interested in, you're a car guy, you want to get a new Corvette, and you're willing to invest in like a high-end thing of your favorite brand. 81,000 views, 24,000 views,
In 8 hours. Look, in 8 hours. That was posted today.
So the thing is that this market, this specific one, it's high end. It's a different hobby, but it's the same concept as ball pythons. It's way more saturated. It's way more competitive, and it's way harder for somebody new in this hobby who's trying to sell Corvettes to stand out. But if you go to sunset ball pythons, all right, you got Brian Barczyk at 162. You got 8,000. You got Brian Kusko at 31, 8,000, 19,000. Always Evolving at 45. One of our videos down there at 1.8. Like, the market isn't as competitive. And the thing is, if you were doing on sunset ball pythons or zebra ball pythons or stranger, and you just flooded it. Chris Hardwick, for example, I think people like rag on Chris Hardwick, and for various different reasons. He knew exactly what he was doing when he went to YouTube.
That guy is winning. I don't know why people knock him. I know there's a couple things he said or little decisions he's made. That guy is winning. He crushed the algorithm. He crushed the work of doing the work and putting it out there. And there was a point he was doing like 3 videos a day in the pandemic. I mean, the guy was just grinding.
I remember, I don't know what video it was. He said that his goal was if somebody searched for ball python anything, he had a video there.
That's right. And he wanted to build a library of morphs that became synonymous with his name. So and he did it.
You can do the same thing. Anybody can do the same thing. You pick a morph and you say, if somebody types in sunset ball pythons, they will see one of my videos. And the more videos you have in that topic, the better chances you have, the more content you have. If somebody's like really researching the Sunset Project, you're going to just find all of the different videos that are related to the Sunset Project. You're going to go on a sunset binge. And that's also going to tell you the people who are in the project.
Yeah.
Like,
I do go back to, and you're not wrong on that from a marketing standpoint, from a reality of, dear God, hopefully sunset doesn't go away. And I know,
true. That's a risk. I mean?
Yep. And I'm not saying it. I love it. I adore the beauty of it. I was stoked to see yours in person a couple months back, but somebody thought Bongo was the coolest thing ever that was fail proof, and it ain't there. And I still think it's a cool morph. And I will also say there is, and this is not a knock on those guys, because from what I could tell, none of them are every one of them are nothing but cool. But there is an inordinate number of influencers, and I mean about 5 that we could all name, that can make or break a gene in a second.
Yep. 100%.
And that is a reality that I've engaged in. I'm still participating. So I suppose that's the downside to their only, to your analogy of the Corvette versus the ball python. There's probably no 1 or 2, 3, 5 people that can influence the Corvette market.
Yep.
There are 5 people. Yeah, there are 5 people that can influence our market. And like I say, I think they're good people, and I think that they know that they have that, and I think that they do protect it. On the other hand, I bet. Let me think a case in point. The one thing I don't like on Morph Market is they don't show historical prices all that well. Like, you can't search by historical date. You can't go what sold 1 year ago today. I bet Blackhead jumped in the past 30 days after Kaboka's video that he put out 3 weeks ago.
I completely agree with you. I 100% believe that there are 5 to 10 people who are very, very prominent in the ball python industry who can make or break a morph. And I feel like that they make it very known what they're into. They're not like having a bunch of secrets.
Yeah.
And you can take a risk and get a morph that is brand new. Like, for example, Zebra. Zebra is a very high-end morph. It's been around a little bit, but it's only now like starting to get like combos made with it. But there haven't been big influencers who have adopted it yet. If you get it today, and then a year from now, Justin Kubulka gets it, you're probably going to be in for a pretty big payday. It's gonna happen. But
I mean, that's that crypto coin that I don't know. Do I want to spend it or not? And I'm not talking Bitcoin or Ethereum. I'm talking one of the little guys.
Mm-hmm. But you could get that morph just like you were talking with Bonko. It doesn't really catch on with anybody else, and you risk a large amount of money, and nobody really wants it.
Yeah.
So I feel like what you can do is you can look at the higher end projects that are starting to get traction that you yourself are excited about. And I think these are like Desert Ghost, Monsoon, Sunset, Stranger, that have a lot of support from those influencers. And they are going to be making combos. They're not just going to tomorrow decide, screw this morph, and I'm going to start trashing it. They're going to keep promoting it. And any promotion that they do for it will help you too.
That's absolutely true. It just doesn't feel. It doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel like you're in. It's not so much a control thing. It's that it's an unlevel playing field, and to some extent, all businesses are that way because there's it's not winners and losers. There's established and then there's mom and pop, and mom and pops become established over time. So it is magnified in our world is my only thing to remember on that. And I'm not even saying that more towards you versus I'm saying it in our minds, collectively. John Inkeline said you could search sold animals on Morph Market. You can. My point was I don't think that you can put the metrics of the date of when they sold. If you can, that's great. I actually would love to go do some research that way, but I don't think that you can. So, but yes, you definitely can look at sold listings on Morph Market, which I actually surf quite a lot as well. And to the Zebra point, Matt says, I think JKR said he bought into Zebra. Phil, I think he's talking about that, says he did. Yeah, he talked about Zebra in his Tinley video. So, to your point, if you were sitting on Zebra and you had I'm guessing they're 10 grand, 8 grand, 7 grand, something visual. You're in for a good ride right now, hopefully. And I will say, I don't think that those guys are nefarious about how I think they're good stewards of our industry. If I didn't, I wouldn't have gotten very far because frankly, there are some jerks out there. They seem to hang out on Facebook, but they're out there. But by and large, man, the support has been killer,
I feel that there are morphs that are stable and they're not going anywhere. Clown, Pied, Yellow Belly, Complex, that stuff's it's not going anywhere.
Right.
I think that the higher end morphs do have room to come down. Like Sunset, it will come down. As more supply gets produced, the prices will drop, and that's good. I think that it makes it more accessible. More people can explore it, and you don't only have to sell it to people who are willing to drop $5,000 on a single gene visual.
That's the kicker I always come back to, and I think I catch people off guard sometimes because I think every guest that I've ever had on the show, if they're willing to share it, I never want to put somebody on the spot. But I've asked, what's your average sales price? And
our average sales? So we don't have a whole lot. Do you want to know?
No, I mostly mean it conversationally, but then, I would like to hear your take on it. So my sort of business model in my mind has always been, if I can get to averaging $500 an animal, I know where I can get to where I don't have to work. I can play music and I can raise ball pythons, and that can be my living. And that's an attainable spot. However, the more people that I talk to, no matter how high end they are, and some of them were in the audience tonight, said, no, you're probably always going to average between 250 and 350. That's the sweet spot of an average. You're going to sell a few above it, but you're going to sell a ton under it. And when it all washes out, you're going to be at 250 to 350. You need to reevaluate your metrics and your numbers on your spreadsheets. So
I can give you exact numbers.
There you go.
So we have sold this season. We had 6 total clutches, and we have sold 29 snakes. So it's not a very big sample size. And of this, there was one clutch that I would consider like not pet grade, and that was a banana blade het clown female to a clown male. From our total average of actual money that we got, our average sale price was $300.71. From that one clutch, the banana.
And I'm sorry, that $379 includes the high-end clutch or not?
That includes the high-end clutch.
That's a total all-encompassing. Okay.
Yep, that was $300.71 was the average sale price, the actual money we received on average from those 29 snakes.
Yeah.
From that, let me go and check something. I'm trying to find the clutch because we have them all organized, not by their ID, but when they sold, or like as they came up. So let me grab it. This was our 3rd clutch. So hold on. Oh, that's really cool. Okay. Wait. That's C? Which one is our 3rd clutch, Courtney? I apologize, guys.
Good. Well, and so, but I mean, to the point though, 29 across the board, whether you got pet grade, whether you got high end, whether
right
you're dumping possible hets, was 379 across 30 snakes.
Okay. I apologize. I was distracted. What was it? Your question, Adam?
What was the average sale price across the board on your animals this year?
Across the board it was $300.71.
Oh, $300, not $379.
Yeah, $300.71. That was the exact.
So yeah, there it is. It's holding true again. Like say, every person I talk to now, mine, I've only sold 9 snakes this year, and my average is at like it's funny. I think it's at 392, but when you said 379, I was like, oh my! I thought you said 379. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like within a few dollars of each other. So I think you have to produce hets to advance with recessives. So if you don't, you could probably get a higher average price, but that price is always going to be trickling downward because everything else is going to advance, and those plain visuals are flooding the hobby more and more every day. And not flooding, but there's more of them in there. And so supply and demand says you've got to be, to use that millennial marketing word, level up. You got to be leveling up at every chance that you get and constantly improving your collection.
So I think that it is interesting. So that is across the board. Our averages was $300.71 was the average actual sale price of all of our things. Our very first clutch was a banana leopard pastel to a pastel. Our second clutch was a butter mojave to a super pastel mystic. Our third clutch was a banana blade het clown female to a clown male.
Did you get visuals out of that one?
Yes. So, like our clutches were good clutches. There, no way were they bad clutches, but they were not like high-end stuff. There were no sunsets. There wasn't anything like that. Our highest valued clutch, it had an average sale price, and this doesn't include the animal we held back from there because we held back a banana blade clown female, but just from what we sold from it, we averaged $628.57.
Okay.
So simply, and granted, slightly different, but if you think about it, that is a bunch of codoms to codom female, or a single gene visual clown male, so that way all the babies are 100% hets, to a banana clown female. Not even a bunch of stuff going on there, and it more than doubled the average price.
Oh, that's why I mean, my $10,000 pitch tonight, I haven't done my reality buying as nicely as that was organized, but that clicked along the way for me. And I want to work toward my first immediate goal is to get where I'm only producing 100% hets first and foremost. No more possibles. I want to get out of the realm of possibles. Then I want to get to the point where I'm only producing hets that are stacked with codoms to breed back to a visual female. And I always want to have at least 2 of any kind of female at any one time, so that in the same year I could produce 100% stacked hets and I could produce visuals from the other female kind of deal. So those are like my benchmark goals that I want to see in the next 2-3 years. So Jeremy just popped up and said, hey, Jeremy, if y'all haven't seen it, check out Bod's Exotic Reptiles. Jeremy's down in, I think Tampa, but Central Florida area, has a lot of cool stuff going on. Has been a guest on my show, and definitely a friend of Proper Royals. Speaking of friend of mine, a personal friend, like brotherly personal, is Jay Spry. Any well-known celebrities that collect ball pythons and as a hobby or in the hobbies? I don't know. I
think somebody in Slayer does.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who it is, but I've seen him in like ball python YouTube videos and stuff.
Oh, cool. I think it was Inquilon. Yeah, John. Inquilon is John. John says there's a guy that associates with a lot of celebrities that owns ball pythons. Let me find his Instagram real quick. I know if you Google, actually one of the craziest things I've seen, if you Google, Jeremy says the guy from Slayer is a breeder. That's cool.
Oh, okay.
That's not Carrie from Slayer. Not like the guy from Slayer, is it?
I don't know.
That'd be kind of crazy. There is a picture, and I'll just let everybody find it on their own. You could Google Betty White with a ball python, and there's definitely a picture of Betty White holding. I don't think she owns one, but there's definitely Betty White with a ball python. I'm always amazed at people who turns out are into guitars and snakes. Of course, Slash, Alice Cooper, but those aren't ball pythons, I don't think. But in Nashville, one of the most famous guitar stores in the world in history is called Groon's Guitars. And Groon owns ball pythons. He's got some ball pythons in his office at Groon's Guitars. Mark says Summer Rae has a few. And Got Balls LLC.
He has some freaking amazing DG stuff and Super Asphalt stuff.
Oh, nice.
Oh, like he has some really cool stuff.
Okay, so now we see where you're getting your show prep from. Hey, there's Joe. I always joke, like I say people's names and then they pop up. They're like the Candyman. Joe, okay, so Kerry King is he breeds Kerry King, I believe, is the bass player for Slayer, but he's like the driving force of Slayer. Breeds carpet pythons, so that's cool. Guys, if you haven't checked out what Joe's got going on at Ball Pythons 9, he's a former coolest ball python in the world winner, and also totally good dude. And Joe, if you're there, how long did you say you had that female? Was it 18 years and she just dropped 14 eggs? Is that what you told me? Ozzy's boy got one from Miguel. Yeah, the Candyman. Just say his name. He pops up. So, Steven, while we're getting some of 19. Yeah, so Joe says he has had her for 19
That's really cool.
years, and he got 14 eggs from her. And I'll say, not that this guy has no reason to lie, but I noticed it in his video and asked him about it. So, man, if you could bang out 14 eggs at, 400 to 500 a hatchling, you're doing A-okay in life on that. So, guys, check out Ball Pythons 9. He's got a good website as well as a Morph Market store. Totally worth checking out. So, Steven, we are coming up on an hour and a half. What do you got coming up? What's good in your life, in the Ball Python life? What's on the horizon for you? You said you're done buying for a little bit. Talk to us about what's going on in the future.
Yep. So we're finishing up the shed the shop. We got to be intentional about it.
That's right.
But once we have that all done, ready to go, the next big purchase that we want to do is an ARS 5540. So that way we have room for grow outs and whatnot. We are already pairing for the 2022 season. We have gotten locks from our visual clown to a Pastave het clown female, a toffee male to our albino female, and then our sunset to our clown female that we've confirmed locks for. So
Nice.
We're excited about that. Going through and doing, as I've said before, I've said it a couple different times, but in case anybody's in the chat that wasn't here earlier, we're doing a collaborative breeding project with Troy from Balls and Strikes. This guy, he's an awesome dude. Definitely check him out on Instagram. But the project that we're doing with him is our sunset male to his ultra male female, and our sunset male to his pastel inchy chocolate desert ghost female. So I don't know, we don't know what will end up happening, but he's an awesome dude and we're super excited by it. So definitely go check him out.
You know, when you find the right collaborator, I did a video with Galactic Reptile here in Jacksonville, and we did a quick collaboration. I really needed to get a visual pied to some of my hets, basically double my odds, so I wasn't going head to head. And they were kind enough to do a stud loan for me. But just when you said, I don't know exactly how it'll all shake out, that's kind of our deal too. Like, it's a little open-ended. We're gonna figure out picks a litter and that kind of thing. Yeah, we gotta. It's a cool way to advance. I could go buy a visual pie just for the sake of having one. Then again, if I don't have to, that's a lot of feeders that'll keep me going. So on my horizon, let's see. Well, let's make one good point. John just noticed we just hit 28 live viewers. I think I told you all earlier, 20 was my previous high water mark. And so thank you all. And we're still sitting on 26. And while we got 26, I said earlier in the show, I've got some Orange Dream male hatchlings. They're great. Hit me up. I want to move those to watchers. I'm not just going to give them away, but I darn near will. I just want to pay. You got to cover shipping and talk to me, but we're talking a month worth of feeders kind of thing, so that I'm breaking even. And I will gladly get those OD hatchlings out to 3. I have 3 available. Just talk to me. properroyals@gmail.com. And just mention that you saw it on the YouTube live. Otherwise, I'm going to put them on Morph Market, or I'll just take them up to the store and wholesale them off. Tradesman Exotics. Yes, sir. Jacksonville, Florida. I am in Jax as well. Hey, Drop, are you on, obviously you're on YouTube because you got a handle here. Are you on Instagram as well? Leave a comment. Once this posts, come back and leave a comment in the bottom of the best way to get in touch with you, or shoot me an email at properroyals@gmail.com, and I will definitely connect with you. I'm pumped to meet some local people. John, talk to me, Inkwan. If you have any interest in Orange Dream, just let me know, man. We'll work it out. So I got 3 Orange Dream hatchlings that there's nothing wrong with them. I just don't have a need for them. And I've got a great breeder, Orange Dream guy that I'm very happy with. So I want to move those to good people. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're sitting here after an hour and a half and 26 of you are, you're good people. So thank you very much, Steven. Thank you, man. I got to tell, maybe what people take for granted or don't realize is we just spouted off some idea, but I guarantee you and I put a couple hours worth of work behind the scenes to bring the show together today. And you didn't have to do that, and you did it. And I appreciate that.
It's super fun.
It is fun. And, even just sitting here enjoying the show, I forget the work that goes into it each week. But it's really cool. It's paying off. I appreciate it. I appreciate, you getting to 7,000 followers on Instagram. Gives me inspiration. But but aside from just being like inspired, it's like going, hey, what's this guy do? I want to talk to him. I want to understand him. Guys like Jeremy Bod coming on, same thing with him, man. It's not that I know a whole lot. It's that I want to learn a whole lot, or that I want to meet people like Tradesman Exotics in Jacksonville. And not to mention some of the customers that have supported me along the way. It's been real cool. I always appreciate it. I am now giving a rambling thank you, which is a great indication that it's time for me to go. Hey, my
one second before you do the outro. Before you do the outro, I do want to give one plug to one other person.
Please do.
And a little bit of shameless, not quite self-promotion, but shameless promotion. I actually don't 100% know. All right, I'm gonna throw this in the private chat, so that way we can do it. But if anybody's free on Friday at 8:00, I know it's it's Halloween weekend, but we are going to be doing a live with Samson Snakeatorium as well as several other really, really cool breeders. Yeah, Brian Cho.
Yeah, definitely. Plug that by all means. Plug that.
Yeah. So
let me see if I can get. I'll see if I can't get you the actual link. I saw where you sent it. Keep going.
Okay. So if anybody's free at 8:00, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on, I believe it's Eastern Standard Time. So you can check it out on his Instagram. But we're super, super excited to be on it. There's lots of really cool people who are going to be there. I don't actually know what the topic is, if it's just kind of like hanging out, talking, things like that. But we'd love to see you guys, and definitely like comment on his post where he says it. Let him know that you heard about it from Adam's show.
Yeah, I can't. Hang on a second. Let me stop that. Oh, I think I maxed out on screens. Hang on a second. Here we go. Okay. And I'm going to share. Yeah. There we go. I just maxed out on the screen. And is it there?
Yeah,
there it is.
So
if you guys get the chance, Samson is just, or Brian is, first, what's the word? Charismatic, hugely charismatic, knows his stuff. Talk about working and grinding. And from what I could tell, he's a good dude that really looks after the community as well, and kind of making a splash right now. You'll definitely get some good content from him, and Steven, you're going to get some killer exposure from him as well. So check out Leviathan Snakes on Instagram, on YouTube. If you're still here and you've watched for a while, we do this every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. I have different guests on, but Steven is a regular, and I hope he will be back. I would guess he'll be back. Every night, not every night, every Tuesday night, 8 p.m.
Every
Eastern.
night.
Not every night. And always the like, the subscribe, all that good stuff. I appreciate every bit of it. Steven, thank you so much. Thank you to your beautiful bride as well. I hope she gets feeling better, and keep that killer content and the killer snakes coming, man. We are out. Thank you, everybody.